And welcome back, everybody, to another big week here on Track Talk. I'm Steve Kaplowitz, joined, as always, by the voice of Sunland Park Racetrack and Casino. He is Eric Alwan. Eric, welcome back. And here we are. We've got Super Bowl 58 set. No games to worry about until next weekend, because I'm not counting the Pro Bowl, Eric. But we've got a busy weekend of live racing. So we've got Friday and Sunday and a lot to talk about. But before we do, why don't we kind of catch everybody up on how the first weeks have been going through live racing and how the standings are shaping up as this point?
Kind of interesting, Steve, and good to be back with you this week. Our leading thoroughbred jockey and leading thoroughbred leading quarter horse jockey are the same person. Christian Ramos has done so well. So a bit of a new face on the scene, really emerging as a star. And he's so adept at winning with both breeds that it makes him a very dangerous commodity here, as that we're pretty much 50-50 split between the thoroughbreds and the quarter horses. But Christian Ramos already, in just a few weeks of racing, has had horses that have earned about $400,000 this season. And that's amazing, as he would probably bank about 10% of that. And we still got a lot of the season to go. I think we're only about a quarter of the way through. But Christian Ramos can really ride, and he's got an even bigger lead in the quarter horse jockey standings. Now, trainer-wise, the leading thoroughbred trainer, Dick Flaco Cappellucci, has come to the fore, and come to the fore in a big way. Sometimes he wins 3 or 4 in a day. He's been so successful, and he's kind of that trainer that can win, all kinds of races, including stakes, but the day in, day out races. But he's hitting at about a 30% win clip. So he's been very impressive. Behind him, Joel Marr, and then Todd Fincher, who, of course, is the mainstay here in New Mexico for the last decade. Has been such a powerhouse, especially with stakes horses. So I would imagine Todd's going to be surging here as the meet grows longer. In the quarter horse trainer standings, a little tighter. JJ Gonzalez and Jesus Rondon Jr. in a tie for the top spot. And no surprise with JJ being at the top, but Jesus Rondon, maybe a bit of a fresh name here at Sunland for the quarter horse trainers.
I'll tell you what, parity seems like, at least early on, is the big story. And that's great, because
very much so.
We've seen Todd Fincher run away with this thing right out of the gate. And the fact that right now it's relatively close, and a start that tells me there's plenty of room for a lot of competition, as the trainers are trying to jockey for position, pardon the pun. That's exactly what Sunland Park needs, isn't it?
It's very even, and when you consider, just take, for example, the quarter horse jockeys. I mean, there's not that much separating top to first, and Francisco Calderon, who's world class, is 10th in the standings as far as races won, but number 1 in money won, and that's because of that big win in the championship. But you did mention Todd, and his attentions might be a little divided. You know why?
Tell me.
Because he's got a superstar thoroughbred who doesn't run here anymore. Last year's Turbo winner was Senor Buscador. What did Senor Buscador do just a few days ago? Ran second, beaten about a neck in the $3 million Pegasus World Cup. In my humble opinion, it's the greatest achievement from any Sunland-based horse ever. Competing for a world title prize in a race that much money. I know my Ned Bird ran here and, won the Derby, but still, for a dyed-in-the-wool Sunland Park horse, as Senor Buscador was, he has catapulted to the top, and his owner earned $600,000 just for running second. And I think they're going to take Senor Buscador over to Saudi Arabia and run him in the Dubai World Cup. So Todd's very busy right now, running his operation here with great New Mexico breds and good thoroughbreds as well, and then having to kind of coordinate this career of a rising superstar on a national, world scene, really.
That's wild, because I was going to say,
amazing.
It really is. And you said it best. We've never seen this before.
Never.
In the history of Sunland Park Racetrack, because now you said it best, the world stage.
Yeah.
Talking about.
There used to be such a gap, such a competitive gap between the racing here in New Mexico in general, and then what happens in Kentucky or Florida or California. But One of the dreams we had was that gaming, the world of gaming, would inject so much money into our purse structure that eventually something like this could happen, or maybe we could have a Kentucky Derby winner, which happened. It's just amazing what money can do. I mean, it gets people involved. It gets people interested in your circuit, especially Sunland Park, as a place where you can train, build up confidence, and then make it to the world stage.
It's huge. Eric Alwan with us right now. We're talking, about everything going on here at Sunland Park Racetrack with Track Talk. Tomorrow, the La Coneja Stakes, $100,000 guaranteed in prize money. How's the race shaping up right now, Eric?
It's a sequel, Steve, to a race we had on opening weekend, the New Mexico State Racing Commission handicap, and that was a race where Corinna made this impossible comeback from last to first. Must have made up 7 lengths and won it in the last 100 yards or so, winning by a length in dramatic fashion. She's facing almost exactly the same cast of characters. Lemon Drop Gold, who was second to her in that race. Belladonna, who came in 4th. First Again, who was third in that race. She's the number 4 horse in the race. Our Time to Shine is a new customer to this bunch, sprinting at least. Pretty Peppy. Hey Friend for Nancy Summers. There is a new threat. Do or Not a Faker. This is a horse that won for Todd Fincher in a $150,000 stakes at Zia. If there was maybe a threat to Corinna, maybe that would be the horse that could do it. This Corinna is the new Pepper's Pride of 2024. I mean, she's that much of a machine-like runner. She's not unbeaten, but she's about the next thing closest. 12 for 24 is amazing. And if she keeps going at this rate, she could be a millionairess by the time the end of the season hits. And that's hard to do in New Mexico, just running in New Mexico bred stakes races. She does like to give her opponents a little bit of a head start. That's the only thing that might get her beat, but she has a nose for the wire. It doesn't matter what the distance is, 5.5 furlongs all the way up to a mile. She's just so machine-like and closes with such aplomb. And she gets along so well with Tracy Abear, who never has to uncock the stick. She's just simply a hand-ridden racehorse. That makes her so amazing. I do have respect for Lemon Drop Gold as well. She made Corinna work last time out, and Todd Fincher also trains that one, and then has this fresh challenger in Do or Not a Faker, who will probably be able to kind of coast for a little while on the outside and then have a stalking position and might get first run on Corinna. Have they ever run against each other? That's what makes this so interesting. It's about the only horse that I can't tell has ever faced Corinna before. So there's, she doesn't know that she can't beat her yet.
I love the fact that you're putting Corinna in the same breath as Pepper's Pride.
Oh, definitely.
Just because Pepper's Pride is one of the all-time greats at Sunland.
Without question. She was an unblemished record. I think it was like 19 wins. She retired unbeaten. Like Corinna, she stayed in the restricted New Mexico bred ranks, but could win on any racetrack in New Mexico. And kind of like Pepper's Pride, Corinna bides her time and makes these lethal come from behind moves. But I don't think that I'm going to ever, say that. It's hard to rank them, of course, but I never saw such an achievement as I did from Pepper's Pride. She'll have an indelible record in the annals of New Mexico racing. But Corinna is trying.
Eric Alwan with us, the voice of Sunland Park Racetrack, as we continue here on Track Talk. Take me through Sunday and the Shue Fly, followed by the Starr Western Wear Stakes, the 2 big stakes races this weekend.
That's right, Stephen. They're both interesting and attractive betting opportunities, I believe, especially the Shue Fly. But the 870 race that we're going to have, the Starr Western Wear, is the richest, if not, co-richest 870-yard race in all of America. And the 870 race was invented, I think, by my dad back in the 60s.
I love it.
Here at Sunland, because we were tight on horses, didn't have enough field sizes. So I think that my father and, a lot of his, co-peers at that time tried to invent a race where thoroughbreds could go up against quarter horses. And that was the 870-yard race, which was invented right here at Sunland. And that's what this is. The only thing about 870s is that you can only run 8 head. So that can kind of limit the amount of handle that you can get. Back in the old days, Steve, they used to run 10 horses going 870. But being that the 870 start is so close to the very first turn, is pretty difficult to win from the 10 hole. It's difficult to win from the 8 hole, but it can be done. And I've seen it done this season. This race kind of involves some very fine New Mexico breds. The logical play is Freedom Flash. And this is a horse from Todd Fincher's barn owned by the Amistoys and Roger Beasley, good friend of mine, who's earned about $500,000 just running 870-yard races and can do very well against open company. That being said, that makes this horse probably the favorite. The number 2 post is a good post. You won't go too wide, although this horse likes to come from off the pace. But I don't see anybody in here that is that strong that could put Freedom Flash behind the 8 ball or be too far behind. So I kind of like him. It's another good stat about Freedom Flash. Over Sunland Park soil, 4 wins from 9 starts. Very strong. Shows you that the horse really likes to go. Now, that's not enough. There's even a local workout back on January 25th. Very fast, 34 and 96 100 seconds breezing. That's a go sign. So, this is going to be a favorite. I guess if you want to make money, you want to find some horse that can get the early lead and finish second to Freedom Flash, or maybe defeat him. There was a horse that I thought could do that, and that's Classy Moon. Classy Moon handed Freedom Flash a pretty convincing knockout blow back at Zia on November the 3rd. But then Freedom Flash turned the tables on him in a big way the next out. So I don't know which Classy Moon's going to show up. But if it's the one that won 2 races back, it's a legitimate contender.
Looking forward to it. Again, that's Sunday, folks. So Friday, tomorrow, and Sunday, some big-time races out at Sunland Park Racetrack and Casino. Post time 12:25 for these great races. And Eric, I know you're all set for the busy 4 race days in a row, and we're just excited to have you come back and give us a little recap as we started off, and look forward to the next time we get to chat here on Track Talk.
You got it, pal. Look forward to it.
That's Eric Alwan, folks, as we continue here on Track Talk.